The galaxy was wide, filled with countless stars, yet inside its great councils, one question always returned like a shadow. Did humans ever exist? In the tall halls of the Zalari Assembly, alien voices echoed. Their scales glimmered in the dim light, and their golden eyes narrowed with disbelief. Humans, one alien hissed, a story for children. Nothing more. Others laughed, their strange voices mixing with the sound of clattering claws and humming machines. Every record. "We checked," said a grey-skinned diplomat, "shows mistakes, myths, confusion. Humans never walked among the stars. They are a ghost story, but not all agreed." A tall being with silver skin raised his hand. His voice was slow and careful. "There are ancient signals," he said. "Old battles, old ruins, all with human marks. Entire fleets once disappeared when facing them. Can all of that be only myth?" The hall fell silent. For a moment, the council's laughter stopped. Another alien, short and covered in blue fur, spoke nervously. "If they were real, why have we not seen them for so long? Why are there no human colonies, no trade, no voice?" The silver-skinned diplomat leaned forward. His eyes shone. "That is the question that keeps me awake at night." A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. For centuries, alien species had grown in power, building vast empires, fighting wars, signing treaties. Humanity, if it ever lived, was gone. Yet strange things remained. Records of wars suddenly ending, powerful enemies vanishing, and old logs filled with warnings, "Beware the humans." Many dismissed these as tales told by frightened captains, but the whispers never died. On the outer rim of the galaxy, among old trading routes, some merchants swore they had seen strange ships, black as night, moving without sound. Others claimed they heard voices on the radio, speaking in a language no one could translate. Most laughed at these reports, but not everyone. In a quiet chamber after the council, two alien officers walked together. One, with wings folded tightly against his back, spoke in a low tone. "You heard the Silver One," he muttered. "Humans may not be gone. What if they are hiding?" His companion, tall with spines along his neck, shook his head. "Hiding? For centuries? Impossible. If humans existed, they are dust now. Old bones floating between stars." The winged one did not look convinced. His eyes darted left and right. "Then explain the ruins on Vega Prime. Explain the machines no one can understand. Who built them?" The spined officer fell silent. He had no answer. Across the galaxy, more meetings sparked. Everywhere, the same arguments repeated. Some said humans were only myths, like the monsters children imagined. Others swore that the silence itself was proof. Only something truly dangerous could vanish so completely. The mystery grew deeper when an explorer ship returned from the edge of known space. Its crew was pale and trembling. Their captain, an insectoid with shimmering wings, demanded audience. With the council. "What did you see?" they asked. The captain's voice shook. Shadows, enormous shadows in the void. Ships larger than cities, they moved like predators. We followed them until they vanished. The hall erupted in noise. Some shouted, "Lies!" Others whispered in fear. One elder alien rose, his voice calm but heavy. "Describe them." The captain hesitated. His antennae twitched nervously. "Dark, silent, covered in strange lines of light. Not like any ship we know. And when they passed us..." His wings folded close. "We heard voices on our radios. Words we did not understand, but one sound repeated again and again. Human." The chamber froze. For a long moment no one spoke. Then slowly the laughter returned. "A trick," someone scoffed. "Space plays games. Shadows. Static. You saw nothing real." But not all agreed. In the dark corners of the chamber, a few aliens exchanged looks of fear. Later, in a quiet station far from the council, a group of smugglers sat around a table. Their voices were hushed. "I tell you, I saw it with my own eyes," one whispered. "A ship, black and sharp like a blade. It followed us for hours, then gone." Another smuggler leaned forward. "Did it fire?" "No, it only watched." The table went silent. Watching was worse. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said humans were only waiting, building their fleets in secret. Others believed humans had become something greater, something more than flesh. Stories twisted, grew darker. Children in alien cities whispered the word human like a curse. Soldiers mocked it, but when night fell, they locked their doors tighter, and then, on one cold night at the edge of the Orion sector, an old archive flickered to life. Ancient signals pulsed again after centuries of silence. Strange, repeating patterns, a code no one recognized, except the very oldest scholars. They trembled as they translated the first line, "We are watching." When the message reached the council, the chamber filled with shouts and fear. "This is proof," cried some. "No, a trick," yelled others. But deep inside, even the loudest voices carried doubt. The silver-skinned diplomat whispered to himself, almost too quietly for anyone to hear, "They are not gone." Silence filled the chamber once again. The words hung heavy, like storm clouds before lightning, and far, far away, beyond the rim of the galaxy, unseen engines began to move. The galaxy was restless. Whispers about humans had spread faster than light. Some aliens dismissed the rumors, calling them foolish tales. Others lay awake at night, thinking of shadows in space, of voices in strange codes. No one agreed. But when truth lingered everywhere, something was happening at the edge of the stars. In the dark station of Ariath 9, a nervous group of alien traders gathered inside a steel chamber. Their eyes darted, and their claws tapped the table. A short, furred trader leaned forward. "I lost 2 ships last week," he said, voice shaking. "They entered the rim. No signal since. No wrecks found. Nothing." The others went silent. Tall insectoid clicked his mandibles. "Pirates," he muttered. The furred trader's eyes widened. "No pirate leaves no trace. No pirates erase a ship's signal so cleanly." Across the table, a scaled diplomat whispered, "What if it is?" Them, the chamber froze. No one needed to ask who them meant. At the same time, far away in the Council of 9, leaders argued again. The silver-skinned diplomat who once warned them now stood with a data crystal in his hand. "These signals repeat," he said, his voice firm. "Not random, not pirates, not storms. Something is moving at the edge of our galaxy." An elder with long horns snarled. "And you believe it is humans? Legends?" No proof. The diplomat pressed the crystal to the table. A hollow display flickered to life. Strange recordings played, deep sounds like distant engines layered with a rhythm that felt unnatural. "They are not storms," he said. "They are engines." The hall grew tense. Some laughed nervously, others frowned. A voice from the back called out, "Engines of who?" The silver-skinned diplomat did not smile. "Engines of a fleet we do not know, or perhaps one we tried to forget." The chamber erupted in noise again. Some shouted warnings, some mocked, some demanded action. Yet even those who laughed could not hide the unease in their eyes. Meanwhile, small ships on the outer routes began to vanish more often. One scout vessel returned only half-ruined, drifting in silence. The rescue crew who entered found no bodies, only empty suits and tools scattered across the floor. "They were taken," the captain of the rescue team whispered. But by who or what? No one answered. The fear grew deeper when a small patrol of alien soldiers picked up a signal. A weak transmission, nearly broken by static. The voice on the radio was trembling, desperate. "This is Scout Vessel 14. We are not alone. They are here." The signal ended with a sudden scream and silence. The recording spread through fleets and stations like fire. Soldiers who once laughed at the myth of humans now sharpened their weapons in silence. Children who once played games about ghost ships now cried at night, refusing to look at the stars. In a hidden corner of the galaxy, two alien pilots whispered to each other while checking their fighters. "You believe it?" one asked. The other swallowed hard. "I saw the signal. The ships were enormous. And the way they moved, not like ours. Like predators." The first pilot forced a weak laugh. "Predators. Ships don't hunt." But his laugh carried no joy. On a mining world, deep tunnels shook one night as strange vibrations rolled through. The ground. Workers rushed out, staring at the sky. For a moment, black shapes moved against the stars, too fast, too silent. By the time they called their leaders, nothing remained. Only a strange echo left in the comms, low, steady, repeating like a heartbeat. The miners refused to work after that. They said the shadows were watching. Back in the council, fear began to harden into anger. Some demanded fleets to be sent. Others warned that attacking shadows was foolish. The debates grew wild, but no answer came. At last, a decision was made. A strong fleet would patrol the rim to prove the myths false once and for all. The mission was led by Admiral Thalos, a proud alien with crimson skin and cold eyes. He stood before his soldiers, his voice booming. "These are not humans," he declared. "These are lies, tricks, or pirates. We will bring back proof and silence these rumors forever." The soldiers cheered, but their voices trembled. Admiral Thalos led 50 ships into the dark. Days passed, then weeks. They scanned the stars, patrolled the empty silence. Nothing appeared. Then, one night, their sensors flickered. Strange readings filled the screens. "Engines detected," a young officer cried. Thalos leaned forward. "How many?" The officer stared, pale. "Too many." The ships appeared like ghosts, sliding out of the void. Black, massive, silent. They moved in perfect formation, no signals, no lights. Only shadows against stars. A voice broke through every channel, deep and cold. "You should not have come here." The officers froze. The voice was not theirs, not any species they knew. Yet the word that followed needed no translation. Humans. Before. They could react. The black ships vanished again, gone like mist. The fleet of Thalos returned in silence, their faces pale, their words trembling. They brought no wrecks, no prisoners, only a single message burned into their systems. It was short, simple, and terrifying. "We remember." When the council received it, no one laughed this time, not even the loudest skeptics. The galaxy had been given its warning. The galaxy waited in fear. The warnings had been heard, the strange messages repeated, but still the councils argued. Some leaders called for defense, others for silence, and many simply prayed that the shadows would never come closer. Yet deep, inside, every species felt the same thing, the sense that something was moving toward them. In the star system of Chiron 7, an alien fleet floated in orbit, patrolling with restless eyes. Their ships glowed with bright colors, symbols of strength and unity, but inside the command vessel, tension ran high. "They said the humans were a myth," whispered a young officer, his scales trembling. The captain, an older alien with deep scars, kept his eyes on the screen. "Then explain the signals, explain the missing fleets, explain the words burned into our systems." The officer lowered his gaze. There was no explanation. Days passed in silence, only the hum of engines and the cold light of distant suns. Then, without warning, alarms screamed through the fleet. Red lights flashed across every ship. "Unidentified signatures detected," shouted a voice. The crew rushed to their stations. Screens flickered with readings, numbers rising faster than they could process. "How many?" the captain demanded. The answer came in a shaking voice. "Hundreds, no, more than hundreds." The void outside began to shift. Stars disappeared behind massive shadows. One by one, colossal ships emerged from the dark. They were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. sharp-edged, black as stone, their hulls glowing faintly with strange blue light. The aliens stared in silence, their hearts racing. "They're not pirates," whispered the officer. "They're not ours. They're—" His voice broke. "They're human." The first ship moved forward, and for a moment the alien fleet felt small, fragile, almost invisible before the storm. Then a sound cut across every channel, clear and steady. "This is humanity." The voice was deep, calm, and heavy with power. Every ship, every officer, every soldier froze. "We have returned." Inside the alien command vessel, no one spoke. Some gripped their weapons, others pressed trembling claws against the consoles. The captain forced his voice to remain steady. "Open a channel." The officer hesitated. "Are you sure?" "Do it." The screen shifted, but nothing appeared. Only darkness. Her voice answered, not loud, not angry, but sharp like a blade. "You doubted us." The aliens shivered. The words carried no emotion, but each one struck like thunder. "You thought we were gone. You called us myths. You forgot." The officer whispered to himself. They know everything." The captain swallowed. "What do you want?" For a long moment there was silence. Only the faint hum of the human engines filled the void. Then the voice returned, softer, but even more terrifying. "We are watching." Suddenly the human ships moved, not forward, not back, but in a strange, perfect formation that spread across the stars like a net. The alien fleet scrambled, turning weapons online, targeting systems glowing. "Do not fire," the captain ordered, though his hands trembled. "If we fire, we are finished." The younger officers looked at him in disbelief. "Then what do we do?" The captain's voice was hollow. "We survive." The human fleet grew larger as more ships emerged from the void. Hundreds became thousands. They filled the sky until the stars were hidden completely. "They could destroy us," whispered one soldier. "They don't need to," said another. "They're showing us they can." The captain finally spoke again, his voice low. "Send word to the council. Tell them humans are not a myth. Tell them they are here." As the message transmitted, the human voice returned once more, echoing across the stars. "This is only the beginning." And then, as suddenly as they appeared, the human fleet vanished. Not in pieces, not in battle, but like shadows fading. From light, the sky was empty once again, the stars shining cold and distant. For a long time, the alien fleet floated in silence. No one spoke. No one moved. The air felt heavy, as if the entire galaxy was holding its breath. The young officer finally broke the silence. Why did they not attack? The captain did not look away from the stars. Because they don't need to. They wanted us to see, to fear, to remember. The crew shivered. Somewhere deep inside they understood the encounter was not a battle. It was a warning. When the report reached the council, the chamber was filled with silence. No laughter this time, no mocking voices. The words of the message repeated across every screen, every data crystal. "We have returned." The silver-skinned diplomat, who had warned them for so long, stood in the middle of the hall. His voice was quiet, but it carried through every ear. "They didn't destroy us," he said. "Not yet, but they wanted us to know. Humanity is back, and they are stronger than ever." Fear spread through the room like fire. Leaders who once mocked the idea of humans now sat pale and trembling. Soldiers who once laughed at old stories now clutched their weapons tighter. The elder with long horns whispered, "If they could hide for so long, if they built such fleets in silence, then what else have they prepared?" No one answered. Somewhere, beyond the rim of the galaxy, engines moved again. Shadows gathered, waiting for the next command. The galaxy had seen its first encounter. It would never forget it. The galaxy could not sleep. Every world, every station, every ship repeated the same words. "We have returned." The first encounter had ended without blood, but it left something far more dangerous: fear. In the grand chambers of the council, leaders argued until their voices cracked. Hollow screens showed shaky images of the human fleet, black ships covering the stars, glowing like silent storms. "They didn't attack!" shouted one horned elder, slamming his fist against the table. "This is proof they are bluffing. They have power, yes, but no will to use it," a feathered diplomat hissed sharply. "Bluff? Do you call thousands of warships a bluff? They appeared and vanished without effort. If they wished, they could have ended us." Others muttered in panic, some in denial. The chamber felt less like a council and more like a nest of frightened creatures. At last, the silver-skinned diplomat spoke. His voice was calm, but his eyes glowed with warning. "You don't understand. They are not bluffing. They are watching. That was only a shadow of their strength." The words hung in the air like smoke. Far from the councils, the fear spread like fire. On border worlds, people refused to leave their homes. Traders avoided the rim. Soldiers drilled with shaking hands. Even pirates vanished, unwilling to hunt. In skies where humans might be waiting. On the planet Vera, a group of miners sat around a flickering light. One spat on the ground. "I saw them," he whispered. "Ships that blocked the stars. My father told me humans were a tail, but tails don't move like predators." Another miner leaned close. "Did they attack?" The first man shook his head. "No, that's the worst part. They only watched." Silence followed. Everyone understood. Watching was worse than war. Back in space, Admiral Thalos, the one who had seen the human fleet firsthand, returned to his quarters. His face, once proud and full of fire, now looked hollow. His second-in-command entered carefully. "Admiral," she whispered, "the men ask what we do if they come again." Thalos closed his eyes. "We run. We cannot fight what we saw." His words spread through the ranks like poison. Fleets that once stood tall now looked small. Soldiers who once laughed now stared at the void in silence. The real shock came when a great empire, known for its pride and cruelty, called its fleets home. The Zarkan Dominion, a species feared across the stars, suddenly retreated from border territories. Their leader, known as the Crimson Emperor, spoke only 4 words to his council: "They will return stronger." When the news spread, other empires trembled. If the Crimson Emperor, who had never shown fear in 1,000 years, now pulled back, what chance did anyone else have? On the station of Asterion Prime, a group of alien soldiers gathered in a dim barracks. One young recruit whispered, "What if they come here?" His commander, old and tired, stared at the floor. "Pray they don't," a voice rose from the shadows. Another soldier, his eyes full of fire, growled, "We should strike first, hunt them before they hunt us." The commander shook his head slowly. "Strike first? Against them? That would not be war. That would be suicide." The room fell silent. The fire in the soldiers' eyes dimmed, replaced by the same quiet dread that filled the galaxy, but the humans did not strike. Not yet. Instead, they let the fear grow. Weeks passed. No one saw the fleet again. Some began to hope it had all been a dream, a trick of light. Others whispered that the humans were waiting for the right moment. Every rumor made the tension worse. Then, without warning, the waiting ended. In the star system of Draven's Reach, a colony world lit with thousands of alien cities, night suddenly turned into day. The skies filled with shadows once more. Human ships appeared above the planet in waves, covering the horizon. Panic spread instantly. Civilians screamed. Governments called for armies. Soldiers ran to their posts. Yet the human ships did not. Fire. They only hovered, endless and silent, like mountains in the sky. The planetary governor demanded an open channel. His voice shook as he shouted into the comms. "Why are you here? What do you want from us?" For a long moment, no answer came. Then the same voice that haunted the galaxy returned. Calm, cold, powerful. "We are humanity." The governor's claws tapped against the console. Why do you invade us? Invasion, the voice replied. We did not fire, we did not strike, we came to remind you. Remind us of what? The governor whispered. Of who we are, of what you forgot. You doubted our existence. Now you see, we do not hide, we do not fade, we endure, we grow, we return. The governor tried to speak, but his voice failed him. Behind him, officers and soldiers stared at the sky, their weapons useless in their hands. The human fleet spread farther, stretching across the atmosphere until the stars disappeared. The silence was worse than gunfire. At last, the voice spoke. Again, final and chilling, this is only the beginning. And then, as before, the ships vanished. No explosions, no battles, just silence. But the silence was louder than war. Across the galaxy, the message spread. Worlds that once doubted now trembled. Empires that once ruled with iron claws now whispered in fear. In every council hall, leaders repeated the same truth. The galaxy was no longer theirs. It now belonged to humanity. The galaxy no longer felt safe. The memory of black ships hovering over Draven's Reach spread faster than light. Entire worlds repeated the story, how the skies filled with human fleets, how the stars vanished, how they appeared and vanished. Like shadows, leaders tried to calm their people, but their voices were weak. Soldiers stood at their posts, but their hands shook. Every species whispered the same question, what do the humans want? The answer came without warning. It was night on Asterion Prime, a shining capital of commerce. Towers stretched high into the clouds, lights glowing in every color. Suddenly every screen across the planet flickered. Adverts, news feeds, and entertainment channels went dark. Every holo display turned to static. Then, slowly, a single image appeared, a symbol, 2 circles interlocked, burning white against black. A human mark. The people froze. Some ran, some screamed, some simply stood and stared. Then the voice came, calm, cold, terrifying in its control. This is humanity. The words echoed not just on Asterion Prime, but on every world, every ship, every station across the galaxy. No system was safe from it. No signal could block it. The humans spoke everywhere at once. You doubted us, the voice continued. You called us myths. You mocked us. You believed we were gone, but we never left. In the great chambers of the council, leaders sat frozen, their eyes locked on the glowing symbol. None dared to interrupt. The voice grew heavier. We endured. While you built your empires, we built our silence. While you fought your wars, we prepared for the storm. While you forgot us, we remembered everything. Some council members whispered to each other, "Can they hear us?" No, they are not speaking to us. They are declaring to all. The voice pressed on. We watched as you spread across the stars. We saw your greed, your wars, your cruelty. We saw the weak crushed by the strong. We saw fear turn into chains, and we remembered. On small frontier stations, families clutched each other. On mining colonies, workers froze mid-shift. In pirate dens, hardened criminals stared at the symbol with wide eyes. Everywhere, the galaxy listened. The voice paused. Then it returned. Softer, almost like a whisper, but heard just as clearly. You ask what we want nothing from you. The words shocked the listeners. Murmurs filled council halls. If not war, then what? The voice continued, each word slow and sharp. We did not return to beg. We did not return to trade. We did not return to bow. We returned to remind you. The symbol pulsed brighter, spreading light across every screen. Remind you who we are. Remind you what you doubted. Remind you that humanity does not vanish. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive. A gasp swept through the council chamber. Leaders glanced at one another in terror. One elder whispered, "Forgive? What do they mean by forgive? What have we done?" Another elder, trembling, whispered back, "Perhaps existing is enough." The voice returned, stronger now. "We are not here to strike first. Not yet. We are not here to destroy without reason, but know this, when the time comes, we will not ask permission, we will not seek mercy, we will act. In the barracks of the Zarkan Dominion, soldiers who once prided themselves on conquest now lowered their heads. Their commander muttered, "They speak like gods, not men." And yet the humans had not shown a single face. Only their voice. Only their shadow. Then, for the first time, the message shifted. It showed images, burning ruins of old wars, fleets shattered in space, colonies abandoned. Some aliens recognized the scenes. They were from their own histories, their own battles, but scattered across the wreckage were strange symbols, human symbols, the voice explained. You forgot your history. You erased our hand from it, but we were there. We fought you, we defeated you, and when we vanished it was not because we were weak, it was because we chose silence. Now, the silence is broken. The images faded, the symbol returned. This is humanity. We have returned. Watch the skies. The message ended. Every screen went black. On every world, silence followed. A silence heavier than war. In the council chamber, no one spoke for a long time. Finally, the silver-skinned diplomat stood. His voice was calm but filled with dread. They did not attack. They did not demand. They simply spoke. And that was enough to shake the galaxy. The Horned Elder whispered, "If this was only a message, what happens when they decide to act?" Another diplomat buried his face in his hands. "The galaxy is finished. We are finished." But the silver-skinned one did not agree. His eyes glowed faintly as he stared at the dark screens. No, the galaxy is not finished. It is being tested. Humanity is waiting. The question is not if they will act. The question is when. Across the stars, fear spread deeper than any weapon could strike. Families whispered at night, afraid to look at the sky. Soldiers stood, eagerly staring into the void, waiting for shadows to move. Leaders argued, but none had courage left in their hearts. And far beyond the reach of alien eyes, in the dark edge of the galaxy, human fleets gathered in silence. Engines burned like stars, ready and patient. They had spoken their message. The galaxy had heard it. The waiting was almost over. The galaxy held its breath. Every species waited in fear. Every council, every station, every fleet knew the same terrifying truth. Humanity was no myth. They had returned. In the council chambers, leaders huddled, pale and trembling. Screens across the galaxy flickered with warnings from scouts and patrols. "They're moving," a young officer whispered, his voice barely audible. The Horned Elder slammed a claw on the table. "How many?" The officer swallowed. "Too many to count. Thousands, no, tens of thousands of ships." A hush fell across the chamber. Even the loudest skeptics could not speak. The galaxy's arrogance, built over centuries, crumbled in silence. On Vera Prime, a border planet, citizens looked up as the sky darkened. Shadows stretched across the horizon. It was impossible. The stars disappeared behind a storm of black ships. Engines burned with strange blue light, humming like an army of predators. A young girl clutched her mother's arm. Are they coming for us?" Her mother could not answer. No one could. The humans had not fired a single shot. Yet the fear was heavier than any battle. In orbit, Admiral Thalos watched his fleet of alien ships. His heart pounded. "Form defensive lines!" he shouted. "Prepare weapons! We must—" He stopped. The voice came, deep and calm, echoing through every channel. "This is humanity. Stand down." The officer beside him froze. They can speak to every channel at once." "Yes," Thalos whispered, his face pale. "And we hear it." All the voice continued, slow and sharp. "You doubted our existence. You laughed at the stories. You erased us from history. Now you will see the truth." The black ships moved in perfect formation, stretching across light years. Thousands became tens of thousands. The galaxy's sky was filled. No fleet, no empire, no weapon could hide from them. On Asterion Prime, the city leaders panicked. "Evacuate!" someone shouted. "Every system, warn every world." But the humans did not fire. They did not strike. They simply hovered, immense and silent, a storm that the galaxy could not escape. A soldier on a patrol ship whispered to his companion, "If they wanted to destroy us, we'd be gone already." His companion swallowed. "Then why are they here?" "To show us what we face," the first soldier said, "to make us feel small, weak." The council chambers were filled with trembling leaders. The silver-skinned diplomat who had warned them for centuries stepped forward. "They are not attacking," he said, voice calm but heavy. "They are reminding us, reminding the galaxy who we forgot. This is more than power. It is terror, perfect, controlled terror." A horned elder asked, shaking, "Then what do we do?" The diplomat looked at him, eyes cold. "We survive, that is all, until they decide to act." On the colony of Draven's Reach, civilians fled, running from shadows that covered the stars. Ships scrambled from ports, alarms blared, and soldiers fired blindly at nothing. Still, the human fleet hovered. Still, no one was hit. A young pilot called back to his base. "Admiral, they're everywhere. We can't reach them." "Stay. Do come," the Admiral replied. "We hold, we survive. That's all we can do." From the void beyond the outer rim, more ships emerged, tens of thousands more, stretching farther than the eye could see. Every world could see them now. The galaxy's arrogance was gone. Every species whispered the same thought, repeated like a prayer. "We were wrong. Humanity is unstoppable." The human voice returned to every channel. "Do not fear us without reason. Do not act without thought. You doubted us for centuries. You erased us. You laughed. Now you will remember. We are back. And we will decide the fate of the galaxy, not ask for permission, not seek mercy. We endure." On the floor of the Zarkhan Dominion, the Crimson Emperor stood silently. His empire had never feared anything. Yet now, he lowered his gaze. His pride crushed. "They are not just ships," he whispered. "They are a storm made of purpose. They are the galaxy itself, perfected and armed." Across the galaxy, panic spread faster than light. Fleets scrambled, colonies evacuated, councils trembled. Every species knew one truth. Nothing could stop what had returned. The young officer on Vera Prime whispered again, staring at the endless black ships. "How can anyone survive this?" The older soldier, shaking, replied, "We survive because they allow us, for now. But remember, waiting for a storm does not make you safe. It only gives you time to fear it." The human fleet shifted, moving as one. Silent engines hummed like a heartbeat felt across the stars. They were patient, organized, and perfectly disciplined. Every movement was precise, every shadow a warning. Then, as quickly as they had filled the sky, the leading edge of the fleet vanished into hyperspace, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. The stars reappeared, cold and distant. Every alien vessel shook, every citizen wept quietly, every council hall echoed with whispers of fear. In the council chambers, the silver-skinned diplomat spoke last, his voice echoing with finality. "They doubted humanity. They laughed at us. They erased us. But now humanity will decide the galaxy's future. And until they act, we wait, trembling, knowing the storm is coming." The galaxy was no longer the same. The sky belonged to humanity, and everyone knew deep in their hearts that the humans were unstoppable.